Okay. Okay. Thank you, dear. It's a shame and is that thing on? Can y'all hear me? Can you hear me? I don't think I'm functioning. Mr. Donahue, can you hear me? It's a shame and disgrace that this many senators can get here before the committee. Those people ain't got anything else to do. Good morning. Y'all bow with me. Gracious and good Heavenly Father, again we come asking you to forgive us of our sins, to say thank you for another day in your wonderful universe. Let us do things that please you. Keep your hand on us and guide us to make sure that we do. Give us character and compassion. I ask these things in my Savior's name. Amen. Well, now the three that were here yesterday knew what the rules were. If my chubby buddy can play music, y'all have to sing for us. Have you got a song picked out? Bethel, I know you know some kind of fight song from somewhere, so you can lead them. I'll let you be their leader. By the way, that's a really nice tie. Don't be laughing at him. I really like that tie. Oh, God. Carter. Where'd Carter come from? Geospatial. We still don't know what that word means. You could get some lawyers to help us. No, they disagree on a lot of stuff. I won't go there. Come on, y'all. That was funny. y'all weren't listening. Y'all weren't listening up. Okay. Mr. Gooch.
Good morning. I would sing the national anthem, but no one would be left in the room if I did. I'd like to request Senate Bill 299 to be put on the calendar, Mr. Chairman. Senate Bill 299 deals with watershed protection plans for local governments. It allows for flexibility in those protection plans instead of today's rules of a standard 300-foot buffer on streams.
Are there any questions? Who's going to carry your bill?
It'd be Representative Kevin Tanner from the 9th District, Dawson County.
I hadn't had but one chocolate pie from his grandmama. And he got 3 bills because of it.
I've got a half gallon of maple syrup from
Vermont.
Vermont.
You're supposed to bring me the real maple syrup.
Yes,
yeah,
sir. It's
okay.
on its way. It's in my car outside. I'll bring it to you in just a little bit.
Y'all, this is not an ethical question. I really do like pancakes too.
Everybody loves
real
maple syrup.
Dadgum Gooch, I'm going to have to do it just to get the syrup, aren't I?
Yes, sir. Thank you.
No questions. Thank you.
All right.
My senator.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Mr. Bethel.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, members of the committee. My singing is best done in a congregation, so I'll spare you that as well. I'm coming to you asking for Senate Bill 349, which is the second from the last in your modified open section. This is the Department of Behavioral Health and Developmental Disability relationship with our Community Service Board. It has the support of the administration of the state. This is about 2 decades worth of experience being brought to bear in redefining that relationship to provide more accountability and efficiency in the delivery of those services. And I ask your favorable consideration, Mr. Chairman.
Are there any questions, Mr. Albers? I mean, Mr. Bethel. I've got Albers lined up next here, so has this bill got anything in it concerning the Second Amendment?
Mr. Chairman, I think it's safe to say it doesn't touch very much on Second Amendment. Of course, we're all interested in mental health, but I don't think in this bill that those two touch.
Thank you, Mr. Bethel.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Mr. Albers, trying to get you up there too quick.
Good morning, Mr. Chairman. Good morning, House Rules. Please pass my bills out of committee.
Next.
I thought you wanted a song, Mr. Chairman. I've got three bills, Mr. Chairman. I've got under modified open rule SB 235, which is the Georgia Firefighter Pension Fund. That is to correct an error that was made several years ago by the administrator of the pension fund. It impacts 18 part-time firefighters in retroactive form and then part-time firefighters moving forward. It's important to note that this is not a state-funded plan. This is funded by the firefighters themselves and insurance companies. Second bill is...
Wait a second. We got some questions.
Yes, sir.
Ms. Abrams.
I'm sorry, I can't hear you.
On page 2, line 34, we strike the word full-time and replace it with permanent. But because Georgia is a right to work state, we do not have permanent employees. That term defined anywhere. So how do we know that an employee is a permanent employee as opposed to a temporary?
Well, they're defined as a permanent employee in this section by the fact that they would work more than 1,024 hours throughout the year. So that is considered to be a half-time, about a 20-hour per week person. And the pension fund today includes both volunteers and full-timers, and that's the one in between that also then goes with the language for the current pension fund itself.
So is the term permanent defined somewhere because it's not defined in the context of the
Correct, it is.
defined where?
It is defined within the actual setup of the pension fund itself through Jim Menard, who manages that through the state. Thank you.
Next one. Oh, I'm sorry, Mr. Roberts. I didn't see it.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Senator, in a friendly question, but we've passed several firefighter pension fund bills this year. I think it's 3 we've already passed through the House. Is this in the same language as one we've already passed? Can you tell me? I'm just trying to figure out, I can't follow. I'll be honest.
Fair enough, Mr. Chairman. I am not familiar with the exact language of the other bills, but I have been working with the pension fund folks to know that this isolates one particular problem for our part-timers, and believe this one to be isolated.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Next bill.
Also under modified open rule SB 325, this is from the Insurance and Fire Commissioner's Office. This does 3 things for our sprinkler and extinguisher contractors. First thing, it gives the Insurance and Fire Safety Commissioner the ability to penalize someone if they're breaking the law and operating without a license. The second thing, it's very good for businesses that if there is a problem, they will issue them a warning ticket without a fine and give them the opportunity to fix that. And then the last thing is to assure that if someone is applying for a new license but has been doing something fraudulently or dishonest, it will give the Insurance and Fire Safety Commissioner's Office the ability to deny them a license if they were doing something unethically.
Next one.
And then under modified structure rule, Senate Resolution 868, this is the annual easement bill from State Properties Commission, and all of the representatives and senators affected have been notified and discussed.
Mr. Albers, would you take a question from me?
Absolutely, sir.
On number 9 on that list is Gordon County. You know where I'm from?
I'm going to guess Gordon County.
Mhm. You know that we're gonna let them have for $10 the fifth hole on my golf course? I am not lying to you. This is not a joke.
How can I best help you, Mr. Chairman?
If I didn't need the bridges so bad, I'd probably hold your bill. But you do have a $10 gift there from the state to mess up a perfectly wonderful hole.
Be my
Thank-
pleasure. Be my pleasure to come help inspect that with you after session's over, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Albers. Next.
Thank you.
Dr. Burt.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, members of the committee. I bring Senate Bill 342, which is the second from the bottom in the modified structured rules section. It's a Department of Public Health bill about the disclosure of a person's HIV status to healthcare providers. Be glad to answer any questions, Mr. Chairman.
No questions.
Thank you.
Mr. Tippins.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, members of the committee. I bring you this morning Senate Bill 305 under modified open. This bill makes a requirement that fire safety inspectors, if they deny an occupancy permit or mandate that changes be made on the job that are when the job has been constructed in accordance with an approved set of drawings, that they have to cite the specific code violation instead of just giving it orally with no documentation.
Insurance Commissioner okay with that bill?
Yes, sir. He signed off on it, and the state fire marshal's in complete agreement with it and actually testified in the Senate.
Any questions? Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Committee.
You know Mr. Carter?
Good morning, Mr. Chairman, members of the committee. In one of my last appearances before this august body and Chairman Parrish, I bring before you Senate Bill 361, a bill that I had passed before and have been trying to pass for the last couple of years. It has to do with the Georgia Geospatial Advisory Council. This is just a council of geeks, if you will, who deal with maps and make sure all our maps in our states communicate with each other and overlay. It's a completely voluntary, no expense commission.
I didn't think you were even going to come by this year.
Pardon me?
I didn't even think you were going to come by this year.
I wasn't intending to, but unfortunately, this came up.
That's what I said this morning. Unfortunately, he brings the daggum thing back. How long did it take you to learn how to spell geospatial?
I still hadn't got it down.
We haven't come up with a real good definition of geospatial. Is that special geography? I don't know. Never mind. Any questions, Mr. Former Representative Carter, and soon to be Congressman Carter,
I hope so.
who will help us on every opportunity when we have needs in Washington.
Yes, sir.
I can't do much better than that.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, members of the committee.
don't see your name on this bill.
Yes, sir, Mr. Chairman, 318.
Mr. Jackson. Okay, I got it. Come on, Mr. Jackson.
Good morning, Mr. Chairman, members of the Rules Committee. I bring before you a modified structure bill, Senate Bill 318. This is a local controlled bill, sir. And members, it allows local municipalities who already sell alcohol be able to sell alcohol on one day of the year. That's the Sunday before St. Patrick's Day.
Didn't I do that somewhere? Are y'all just trying to double team us? Is that it? One doesn't get through, one does. I did pay. Who paid attention? I read these dadgum things.
It's a little sense of urgency, Mr. Chairman.
Well, did Mr. Stevens come over there and tell y'all that he had a sense of urgency on his? So I got to have two of these. Yes, sir. Please. Mr. Rice.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Senator, is it not true that the Senate added to this bill and included also the sale on Memorial Day and Labor Day to this?
No, sir, that's been removed.
Oh, okay.
That's been removed. It only pertains to one.
Yep.
It only pertains to one day, and it happens like once every 7 years.
So you can't sell on Memorial Day or Labor Day?
No 4th of July.
And they're on Monday. I don't want to bust anybody's bubble, but so y'all just run right down there and get all you want on Monday. You know, there's a big old question mark above this gold dome too. So, let's all run. Okay. No more questions.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thank you, members.
Members, y'all got anything? Ms. Cooper.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Under open rules, resolution 7.6, the state plan for Alzheimer's diseases and blood dementia. We're in an aging state, 4 older people for every 1 young person, and we need to have a state plan in place to ensure that as seniors age, we have the correct resources for them so we can keep them in balance and in their communities. Thank you. I'd like to put my name on Senate Bill 342. That's the disclosure of a person's HIV status. People that go on treatment with HIV will cost the state hundreds of thousands of dollars, and we need to make sure they get treatment.
Miss Unterman has not asked for 746 or 828. She's asked for her the others, and I told her she didn't have to ask for those anymore.
Oh, I'm sorry. Thank you.
Mr. Powell.
I'd like to ask for Senate Bill 305, Senator Evansville.
Ms. Abrams.
Thank you, sir. I'd like to ask for H.R. 1332, Representative Hughley's bill related to compensating wrongfully convicted persons, and SB 318, Senator Jackson's bill.
Mr. Hamilton.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Chairman, sorry about that.
Dadgum, I thought I got a promotion.
That's just how much I enjoy being around you. Modified structure, Senate Bill 255. This is a new funding opportunity for P3s in infrastructure.
Mr. Hill has not been here either. Mr. Williams.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Question, did you say that Senator Utterman has not been here for SB 292?
Yes, she has.
Yes. I'd like to put my name beside SB 292, HR 1332, and SB 318, which is a good bill for the country.
Mr. Green.
Mr. Chairman, before I ask for, I'll put my name beside this, SR 868, is there something wrong with your portion in that particular bill?
Well, I don't know. I read it this morning. There, Gordon County was on 225, and we're getting paying $10 for a right-of-way through a state property that I lease. I don't know. Is there anything wrong with it? I don't know. And there ain't enough dirt in the world to fill up that hole that they're going to fill up, but I don't know anything. That's okay.
Well, well,
it would be appropriate, even though I'm got a funny taste in my mouth about that. It would be appropriate if you wanted to put your name beside it. I won't hold a grudge over 2 or 3 years.
Thank you. We put that. Anyway.
I think I'm gonna put down that you spoke for 868. There's a big old star beside it too. That's funny. There's no other stars. Mr. Smyrie.
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to put my name by House Resolution 1332 and Senate Bill 318, Representative Hughley's bill and Representative Jackson, respectively. Thank you.
Okay. This is Monday's calendar. Under modified open, HR 1523. Do I hear move?
Move.
Any opposition? So on modified open, HR 1585. Any opposition? It's on modified open, SB 320.
Move.
Any opposition? Wait a second. Wait a second. He hadn't been here, had he?
He hadn't been here.
Take that off.
Great bill.
Take it off. Modified open, SB 349.
Move.
Any opposition? It's on. Under modified structure, SB 342.
Move.
Any opposition? It's on. Under modified structure, Mr. Stevens, you want 318? SB 318.
Move.
It's on.